Alright, we are here for the second episode of Tier S. The final tier of Year 3. And the final tier for the foreseeable future. The only problem is I don't know when we'll be getting that computer. It's sort of like a thing of like we're doing it, but we just don't know when. There's not been any sort of arranged time where we're going to like get together and look for a gaming computer with which to do this. And then I also have to get the game, get all of the mods, make sure the mods work. Because I can mod cars, and I can also add tracks, but I have to make sure that all of the tracks don't crash the computer. Make sure all the cars don't crash the computer, that the AI don't make themselves look like idiots when they drive the cars at all times. I mean, yeah, I want a couple of crashes, but I also need them to not... I need them to function, because I know, at the end of the day, we're still trying to have a race. And if there's an AI that just never hits a braking zone ever, and like misses every corner of every track, it's not going to look that good. So there are the point standings. I covered them at the end of the first episode. The first episode, which I finished recording about 5 minutes ago. I just went, looked at Discord, grabbed a drink, and decided I'm just going to record again because a time span of complete silence is increasingly rare to come by, as my weird sleep schedule means that my mom and I are usually awake at the same time, and this mic is so unbelievably sensitive to any sort of background noise. It peaks the mic audio when my mom walks around on the kitchen floor. So I have to try and find a time where she's outside or not on this level of the house, and that's getting more and more uncommon to do. So let's take advantage of this time and head into the Nürburgring for round 5. On the very foggy starting grid for Nürburgring, and the main focal point, right? I pointed out the standings. Ryan Wolf is the points leader. He's starting 10th. I believe it was Eric that's behind him in second, 7 points back. He's starting in P7. And this race is going to be a little more devoid of the GT interference, because the leading GT is Sham, and 3 Group C start ahead of him. So this seems like it will be a race that may not have anyone scoring on the GT side of things. All the Group C's get off to a normal start. Travis Wild gets a really good one though, and he will be well ahead going towards T1. Sham is being absolutely run over by people. The 2 McLarens get together on the one side of the screen as Ryan Wolf miscalculates the braking area. Sham is still on McIntosh's inside, and he's going to try and make things inconvenient for him, and he will manage. Looking towards the back, us C9 drivers have been screwed over. Although, that, to be fair, with the way that I've driven in the last 2 races, I probably deserve to start back here. Sham stayed ahead of Tyler as we complete the first half of the lap. I'm trying to do the most here. That's not really how you take care of in turns. Oh, Hikari has Thrasher's number on his machine. 94. Although I don't think Thrasher would be caught dead in that car because it's bright yellow and it's a Nissan. And it's not like an R32. Otherwise, I know he'd be all over it, but it's GTR. And it's like one of the worst GT3s, possibly the worst available. I just noticed, based on that green bar down there, the Ferrari FXX has curves. And he actually uses it too. Or he being like the AI driving it. Sham is continuing to fall down the order. He's now in P8. I'm already up to P10 despite my incompetence in the last 2 races. I'm getting through the field considerably faster than the other C9 is. Sodakov is still working on 11th place. And he was 14th at the end of the last corner. And he's being overtaken again by DePrisco going through this weird infield loop thing. He will attempt to overtake the Huracan once more, but now he's going to be on the outside, which will make things quite difficult for that. And he will find a curb and produce no result. It's pretty much business as usual at the front, nothing really major going on. The Group C's are all pretty even with each other, and considering they're the top 3 and the FXXKs are on the back foot, as there are straightaways, but they're not productive ones, you know? Gemini has clearly hit something during this race. I don't know when or where, or who. He's on the inside of Sebastian here. Sebastian plays defense and maintains P8 for the time being. Sounds like Gemini is definitely pushing those tires to their limit. You will have no answer going into this braking zone. Has a terrible corner here, which means he will have no shot going into the hairpin next. And you'll have to wait for, pretty much have to wait for turn 1 to come around again, because that's the next braking zone where he can make a pass, since he managed to completely flub that up. I think Travis is just being more aggressive, and that's what's keeping him ahead here. I think that's my not super experienced analysis, but I think that's kind of what it is. Travis is just being more aggressive the way he's attacking the corners in that 962. Juno looks a little more stable, and if things like tire wear were a factor, I'm pretty sure she'd be at the advantage here, but they're not. Gemini will try again on the 911 RSR. He'll be well ahead at the braking zone this time, so not really any opportunity for Sebastian to have any sort of response, despite his efforts to. Ivan is still not even into 11th yet. He's only now, I should say, working on getting around Barbara, and that did not provide anything. There's a small battle going on for not last between Hikari and Cameron. It's not really doing much though. Yeah, you can see they're both kind of aggressive through the hairpin. They both got loose a couple of times. They had to keep readjusting their acceleration. Or their throttle input, I should say. They're both kind of on the edge here. I generally think that Gina is slightly faster at the moment, but Travis is just able to be just fast enough when it counts and not be at any, like, immediate risk of losing the lead. He also seems to get better acceleration just by being in a different car. These cars are equal, but they're not the same, which means that they're evenly matched, all of the groups these are, but they do have different strengths and weaknesses. I don't know what they are, but I know that they're there. I think the 787B has better top speed, but I think the 962C has better short-range acceleration, maybe? And then there's the C9s, which I think have kind of a mix between that, and they've also got better cornering, marginally. Here I go, attempting to pass the Porsche. It's not getting me super far. I'm going to have one more attempt at it on the final lap of the race. Why in the name of God I made this a 6-lap event, I don't know. Don't ask. This is one of my favorite tracks to drive on, namely in Project Cars 2. However, the AI in this game do not make great races out of it. We sometimes get awkward moments into turn 1 and close defenses through that infield section, but once we get to what would be sector 2, it tends to get pretty lame for the remainder of that lap. They very rarely attempt overtakes into the chicane, and especially not when they're in equal equipment, more or less, as they are here. We reached the final lap. Gina's not going to be close enough into 1 to try a pass, so I don't want to say we have the results decided, but they're pretty certain by this point. Gemini is slowly catching up to Ryan Wolf. He's run the fastest lap of the race, which is over a second faster than Ryan's best effort. However, he's on his final lap, so I don't think he's really going to get the chance to convert that into another position. I am expressing the definition of insanity. I made a different attempt to try and claw back at Sham by slowing down and letting him go ahead completely so as to not lose any further ground, but I don't really think that that's going to advance things in a positive sense for me here either. I'm still going to be nearby, but the AI have relied exclusively on turn 1 to make overtakes, especially when we're making corners like that. And now I'm not even really that close to him. At the exact time where I need to be close to him, I actually don't corner as well as that Porsche does, so... And as he leaves the final corner, Travis Wild will be the winner at the Nürburgring GP circuit. And the back three have still not finished yet. That's the pace deficit here. I'm trying to calculate what the gap between first and last would be. My gaming gonna tell me. Alright, well, fine then. Keep your secrets. And now it's really tightened up. The top 5 within 5 points. Eric 9 back, and Gemini and the last driver competitive Tyler and Ivan and myself are some ways back. I'm still tied with Barbara in points. Which is quite sad. I'm definitely the low end of Group C's, and I'm definitely the low end in general. And we head into Zandvoort. We still have Cam and Hikari with no points. Sham just picked up 2 in Nürburgring, so he will escape that category. We're on the starting grid for the Zandvoort. I once again almost forgot the name of the track. Not even that, I just almost forgot what track we were at. Tyler has a chance to make up a bit of lost ground, albeit not very much. The thing is, unlike many other tiers where you can make up a lot of points if a driver has a bad race, and that usually happens, it's kind of hard for one of the top 10 cars to have a bad race, because more often than not, they'll be running top 10, and they'll be scoring something. It's very rare for anyone in the top 10 cars, other than me, apparently, to not be scoring. So while Tyler might have a chance to make up a few points, it's not going to be a lot. Shim almost got ahead of Gemini off the grid, but then we forgot he's in a Group C, and now he's going to send it on the inside of Cam. And Gemini is all over Tyler's rear bumper, and we're not even through the first lap yet. Cam is still, with the help of Sham, going to create a bit of a train for everyone else. And passing is difficult at this track, even with a pace deficit like this. Considering there are only 2 straightaways that are even worth a darn. And they're all preceded by high-speed corners, which the GT cars will be better with than the Group C's, for example. It'll be very difficult to make up places. That said, I see this little gaggle back here, which just resulted in somebody spinning out. And it was... So heading down this back straightaway of sorts, Schwartz will attempt to outbrake Barbara, hit a curb, and spin out. And then he'll come back across Ryan Wolf and almost spin out again. So that was definitely on him. He's not out of the race, though. He's just lost a couple of positions and kind of doesn't look all that smart. Considering if you waited for 3 corners, he'd have the long front straightaway to do that. I have no room to speak, but I'm going to anyway because it's my job. Ivan goes by Sham with relative ease. So I guess these GT cars are not going to be the obstacles I thought they were. Sham is exploring some curbs. We have Serdakov and Gwozdowski running the F1 line from the Dutch Grand Prix that happened in real life over the previous weekend as I'm recording this. Barbara's still defending 7th place for all it's worth. Finds a lot of grass. I don't know how she kept that straight. That just defies logic and could only be done by an AI, pretty much. Better corner on the Corvette will manage to keep her in 7th place for the moment. Although, of course, it's borrowed time for, you know, for better, like, more or less, not for better or worse. Shim is going to try and take 5th back from Ivan Sodakov. We're back onto a straightaway, though, so that effort will be denied. And Eric has found himself off track. So here's Eric braking for this weird chicane, and he finds that same curb. He bounces off the side of Travis's car. Mind you, these two are friends and outside of the track, but right now I'm sure Travis is probably thinking he's a bit of a moron. The battle for 3rd, or the battle of the top 3, is beginning to become more prominent, but Tyler has just enough top speed to stay out of danger between these two Mazdas. Kim was still in 4th until we hit that straightaway. I hadn't even realized that Barbara had started where she did, and she just managed to not lose many places. 2 Porsches going side by side, and Travis just absolutely forced Sham off the track altogether. Barbara tried to sneak on the outside of the Porsche, but that would just be a detriment more than anything else, so she retreats. And once again, have another weird incident going through this set of corners. Travis Wild totally thrown off. He manages to keep it on the road and not lose any places though, which is different from everybody else that's been thrown off by that corner up to this point. Still close between the top 3, but the fact still remains, Tyler has just enough horsepower to stay out of the danger zone. Here comes Wolf entering the battle of GT cars. Oh, weird. He gets ahead of Barbara, but has sort of been obstructed. Now everyone is here at the this little battle of GTs. And Barbara tries to take 8th back from Ryan, but will not succeed. I think a GT car can still score. It'll probably be Cam, and he'll be able to break out of that mold, but I don't think Barbara is going to be able to, because she's going to have to keep all of this behind her for an entire other lap. And I just don't know if that's on the cards. Especially when Schwartz is already up alongside her again, and we've already seen how this played out once. This time, though, Barbara wasn't quite ahead, so that curb hop did not result in Schwartz crashing. Thrasher and I are still too wide for our chance to take 10th away from Barbara, and I will lose out on that. Ryan Wolf sends it in on the Porsche, and I don't know how he'll be able to maintain this position with that. Thrasher has already made an attempt to pass Barbara. It did not work. Thrasher is now almost shoving the Corvette off the road altogether, but Barbara still held her ground and managed to stay in 10th for the time being. The S's are quite sketchy, but Thrasher just doesn't care. And Barbara allows a ton of space, just let him go through. Eric got ahead of me while I was attempting to contend with Thrasher and attempt to get up to Barbara, but yeah, so once again, I will be the only top car not score. No, Eric won't be either. Because Sham and Cam, it's kind of a weird ring to it, are still up here in 6th and 7th, and I think they will be safe in those positions as we end off the race. They were under a blanket the whole race, but nothing really happened to this top 3 here. So the dub at Zandvoort will go to Tyler McIntosh. Gemini, it's a bit late for that. The race is over. Sham could not hold 7th, but Cam will take 6th place. So looking now at the point standings, top 6 within 8 points, top 8 within 15. It's still definitely anybody's game except for mine. Like that, this is just sad. I'm tied with 3 GT cars. It's a 4-way tie for 10th in points, and one of them is supposed to be a car that runs in the top 10 at all times. This is just embarrassment. So 2-8 to a Ranger driver swap. Can I just have like me and Cam? No, not me and Cam. I won't drive in, alright. Like me and Sham swap places maybe. As I don't really want to drive a Porsche either. Man, I want to be in the Huracan, but DePrisco's not gonna get out of that. So only moving to Mugello with literally everything still to play for as we pass the halfway mark of the championship. We're on the starting grid for Mugello, and it's a GT3 front row, which will be interesting. The game has once again started me in last. Twice in a row you've done that. The game is trying to tell me something. Tell me to go home, apparently. I'm drawing them because I'm trying to think, okay, who are the main title competitors? Literally everybody except for the GTs and the Mercedes C9s. That's the answer. So pretty much everybody. And there's 8 people still in the running for this championship. That was awkward. Ryan Wolf just did not care at all and just stormed ahead of everybody. He's the leader. Eric, finally waking up, will chase after him as we head towards turn 1. And it is a mess between the GT3s and everybody else trying to pass the GT3s. Now we have the GTs trying to pass each other, and Barbara gets ahead of him in GT3s first couple of S turns. Does not have a chance to do the same thing to the R8 driver though, so she just has to sit there and hold station while everything unfolds behind her in the mirror. Tyler taking 11 from Wild. Looks for 10th from Sham, but that's not really a corner we can pass him too easily. Gemini has not had a good start whatsoever. He's lost 5 places in less than a minute. Or about a minute, I should say. Oh, good lord. So here's Tyler attempting to overtake the Porsche. Kerr pops right into the Porsche, and they both correct their car, but Sham overcorrects and he takes a trip into the sandbox on the left. So, I think, I mean, if there were stewards here, or if anybody cared at all, what am I doing? If there were stewards here, if anybody really cared at all, I think Tyler would be blamed with wrecking Sham. He is managing to continue, but he is very much out of contention for much of anything at this point. And Tyler, in the intervening time, I think also lost a place to... No, he didn't. He's juking himself out versus Hikari. He'll be on the wrong lane for turn 2 and 3. Actually, no, he'll be on the right lane for 3. It's like 2x2 here, like we're on a NASCAR starting grid towards the back of the field here through Mugello. This has just been cryptic the last lap or so, or the first lap or so. Last lap, it is the last lap, but it's also the first lap. I'm speaking in riddles now, I guess. I don't know what is going on. You have Sodakov, who's wedged himself in between these two GTs. Got ahead of Barbara, but couldn't get Cam for bonus points by the end of the straightaway, I assume is the way that played out. Barbara really pulled to the right to try and pass Ivan, like she had a chance in heck of doing that. With some kind of voodoo magic, I am in the top 10. By voodoo magic, I mean Schwartz got wrecked and I passed GT cars. In the form of Dom. Okay, that's actually not it. How did I get here? Travis tries my outside, but he's just defending from Gemini, and it was just incidental. I'm gonna go for a move on the GTR into the last turn. That will be pretty quick and clean. Darius very easily outdrags the GTR. Gina goes on the opposite side. Battle for a lead is taking place. The splits told me this. Between Ryan Wolf and Eric. They're going to continue to go 2 wide. We're going to follow Thrasher, who's behind this battle. Eric's got better acceleration, but he had a better, or Ryan had a better exit. Eric also has the inside here, which will become the outside for the next 2 corners. Eric thought about crossing him over, but Ryan just kind of parked the bus. So Eric will remain second place for the moment, but he's got a bit of fight in there. I mean, obviously he's got 18 wins for a reason. They have plenty of space to work with. There's no real threat behind anybody here. So these 3 can just hash it out for the lead with no real consequence. They've got like 6 seconds to Ivan back here. It's like a massive train being created. It's like a massive train being created by Cameron here. Schwartz will attempt to escape it, and Cam is on the outside, but he's not close enough to stay on the inside for that S. So Schwartz will have made that move. Barbara still cruising in 8th place behind Tyler, who passed her earlier in the lap. Me and Gemini fighting for P9 in her mirrors. Gemini will get ahead of me through the last turn. Eric is not close enough to issue a challenge for the lead, though. There's me out dragging the Corvette. There's probably Gemini following me, or not Gemini, Travis following me, and such is the case. Barbara possibly demoted to 12th as Gina will make that move stick, but she's been headed off by Travis. I think she still has it done though, because she's still on the inside. No, yes. No, yes. Both Tyler and Gemini just picked up like 4 places into the, like on, between the last corner and the first corner. How did that happen? Actually, no, that happened. He got ahead of me, Cam, and Barbara. Not in that order, but those are the people he did overtake. Ferrari guys better save that KERS. You're going to need it in a minute. Audio of both kinds consistently bugging out on me. I don't even think this is the mic, I think that's just the controller port doing that now. Eric couldn't be much closer to Ryan Wolf, but the moment he pulls out of that slipstream, the P1 just takes back off. Eric caught lightning in the bottle on lap 3 and could never replicate it down the main straightaway. We do, however, have a battle for 4th between Schwartz and Sodakov. However, Schwartz has the inside line and is ahead of the braking zone. So that's pretty clear cut. With Travis overtaking Cam into the first corner, it appears that none of the GT cars will be scoring in this race. Actually doesn't have a KERS bar there, but Eric now does. Weird. Oh, that's also part of it. The P1 GTR also has KERS. Okay, I wasn't even paying attention. I noticed that the FXX had it because I saw the green bar depleting. Never noticed that the P1 has it too, and has it better. Or has a better variant of it, I should say. I don't think Eric is going to be close enough to issue a challenge, meaning Ryan Wolf will most likely be your winner here at Mugello. I think Eric might be close enough for a pass into turn 1, but the race will be over by then. So, indeed, Ryan Wolf is the winner. As I previously stated, no GT cars will score in this one. No, don't worry, Dominic. You've got more than one home track. Hopefully you'll do better at the next one, because that was not great. Ryan Wolf extends the points lead with that victory. Now we're starting to see somebody kind of pull ahead here, as, well, now it's only the top 5 within a race. 6, 7, and 8 are close to 22 points between 1st and 8th. If Ryan Wolf has another like 8th place, 9th place result, maybe things would close back up. But Monza is next, and Ryan Wolf is... Oh, the P1 is very good in a straight line. Even better than everything else in that upper category, so... If anything, he and McIntosh will be the favorites to win the race, let alone, you know, or heaven forbid, them not finish in the top 10, or you know, top 6 minimum, I think. I think they'll both be in the top 6 with pretty much relative ease unless something ridiculous happens. We're on the starting grid for Monza, and, well, the game is trying its best to give Dominic his shot at redemption as he starts on pole for Monza, but trust me when I say, this is probably the track where a GT car is the least likely to score unless one of the top 10 wrecks. As you've seen my driving in this championship, it's not impossible. However, beyond that, it's not likely. And Schwartz is already ahead of the Lamborghini, and I'm sure he won't be the only one by the end of the straightaway. No, even Sham got a better start than him. And he's in the same category as Dominic. Dominic brakes super late into turn 1, and it's worked. He's kept second. Brian Wolf will be the next to overtake them. That. Into turn 4. Dom defending from the 962 into turn 5 and manages to stay ahead of him. Albeit for like one extra corner. One thing's for sure, Dedrick has definitely made good his escape plan. He is multiple seconds ahead already, with just the time that Dominic has bought him. Ryan Wolf is in a 962 sandwich, and I'm up to P4. Dominic already running back down in 6th. Thrasher's overtaking him on the final straightaway before we complete the first lap of Monza. And there is a train of very hungry people behind him that will be wasting little time to pass him as well. Gemini, Ivan, Eric. Dom's aggressive braking will manage to keep him ahead of Ivan and actually put him back ahead very briefly of Gemini. That was, once again, a very well-crafted late braking attempt. However, it's just not really of much value here. There goes the other Mercedes. He gets a bit of grass for his troubles. Eric waits. As the field of angry top category cars builds up behind DePrisco. Gina wanted to pass Sebastian, had no chance there. Tyler tried to pass DePrisco just now, and almost looked like from this angle that he was about to wreck him for it. So now DePrisco is out of the points positions, and once Gina gets around him, he will be scoring nothing, and there will be just as the prophecy is foretold. And from there, I fear the race might actually get kind of boring. Never mind, Eric is still on his charge through the field, attempting to overtake Ivan Sovikov. Also up ahead, I think it's me and Thrasher. And Thrasher wins that, which means that Eric will probably win this, because they're the same cars fighting each other. Yep, with that, Dominic will be out of the points positions. Gina passed him into the final corner, I presume, or going towards it at the very least. And the GT cars are no longer a part of the question, or part of the equation. Jedrick Schwartz is... Schwartz? Yep, Schwartz. Not Shorts. Schwartz has checked out of this hotel. He's running several tenths of a second a lap faster than the McLaren. Even Travis is going faster little by little. The thing is, Ryan Wolf's top speed is probably going to keep him out of danger here. Bit of a train forming behind Ivan. He's keeping McIntosh and Torini on his tail through the slow section of the track that doesn't have a long straightaway. We get onto the straightaway now, and I figured Tyler would have some sort of answer going towards Ascari, but he didn't really do much of anything. I mean, I guess patience, you know, still got 3 laps to get around this guy if you're actually faster than him. And I would tend to assume that Tyler is, considering this is definitely a track that favors top speed like this. He gets like a bumper up to the inside of the C9, but not much more, and Ivan holds the outside and defends. Now Gina will put Tyler under pressure, but the horsepower of the P1 no match for that Group C machinery. Hitting nearly 200, yet hitting 200 right at the braking zone, but Tyler still unable to produce an overtake on the C9 Mercedes. His handling and power mix is just enough to keep his position, and nothing more. Meanwhile, Gemini has caught me. I'm thinking the Mercedes C9s are actually not that good in a straight line based on this evidence. God, the turbo in the 962's just so overdose. My God. Sounds like an angry snake just got stepped on every time that thing's turbo hisses. Psst. Gemini goes to my right side to try and overtake into the last corner, but, well, the speeds evened out before we got there, so he had no shot at it. Tyler will try the same thing he tried on the last lap on the C9 and still yields nothing. And I think we're kind of caught in a repeating loop back here. Eric will send it on Gemini, but very precariously send it, and they still collide. Yeah, we're stuck in a loop here. This is exactly how the last lap played out. Attempt to pass in the last corner. Doesn't work. Tyler nearly gets overtaken from the main straightaway, but the power difference is massive. He gets back up to Ivan for turn 1. Doesn't do anything. The difference is I don't think this happened on the last lap. But it still doesn't do anything. Ivan still keeps his 8th place. I'm surprised that Travis didn't get any closer over the course of this race. He had that fast second lap, but he didn't really do much else after that. Not that it would matter. I don't think he'd have any way of getting ahead of that P1 with its 190 some mile an hour top speed here. It looks like eventually Ivan has submitted 8th place. It took long enough. How did that even happen? Or where? And now here comes the 787B and all of its very noisy glory to attempt to take 9th place away. Difference between these two cars is nowhere near as big, and Ivan is totally helpless, more or less. Darius attempts to pass me into turn 1, but that, for whatever reason, is just never a valid passing zone for the Assetto Corsa AI. I don't know how not, but here we are. I hear Eric behind, but he just about spun himself out trying to get alongside, so... Based on where the bottom two are, we're going to be waiting a while to finish the race after the leader crosses the checkered flag. Crosses the... what? Crosses the finish line. Where did I get checkered flag in that? Eric has caught Gemini and myself, albeit a bit too late. Dedrick Schwartz will take the victory at Monza. He took the lead from turn 1 and drove away with it, making that the biggest margin of victory in this episode. And now we wait, because this field spread is monstrous. Barber ended up 11th. Best of the GT cars. They're fighting for 12th back here, apparently. And I don't think Dominic is going to be... No, he's got the... It's like a drag race towards the last turn. I think Sham just has the exit advantage, and he'll be the one with 12th. The drag race continues anyway, for some reason. Briscoe would brake late again and maintain 12th, but it doesn't matter. We didn't do that before the start line, so... And I almost read that number wrong. No, it is between Wolf and Schwartz at the front, so it's the battle of the Germans, basically. Nobody else is within 15 points, so we've clearly got the title favorites now. It's mostly Wolf and Schwartz. I mean, Thrasher, Travis Wild, and maybe, like, Gina and Gemini have a chance at dethroning that, changing that in the last 4 races, but I'm not convinced. So that'll do it for episode 2 of Tier S. For the final episode, I don't remember even putting those 2 races in. Normally I take those out because we try to use the real life circuits for Tier S. I guess, well, here we are. It's Imola, Highlands, Laguna Seca, and the final race at Black Cat County.